It always feels good to beat the Penguins, but how do we get here? How do they keep rolling? All that and more on today's Locked On Blue Jackets.
You're Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, here to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before we get things started, I want to thank everyone for making this your first listen of the day every single day. I also have to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. Big win last night. The Blue Jackets have remembered how to score goals again. The goalies have remembered how to save goals again. It was a really fun game, a team-wide effort. Not what I was expecting. Not what I was expecting at all. Partially, I think it's the Pittsburgh team wasn't as good as they needed to be. The goaltending struggled for Pittsburgh, but I'm choosing to believe that it's that the Blue Jackets put in, like I said, a team-wide effort. There's only 3 skaters that didn't register a point last night. Jordan Harris, Sean Corrali, Mikhail Pucha. Everyone else had at least 1 point. 6 different goal scorers. You love to see it. You really do. So I want to talk about that today. What I liked about the win, what they need to potentially change up going forward, and also going to take a look at tonight's upcoming match against the Montreal Canadiens, which also feels a little bit like a trap of a game. So we'll talk about all of that. I want to talk about what I liked about this game. First of all, it looked like the Blue Jackets of old. I'd say the Blue Jackets of old. The Blue Jackets of October, let's say. They were defensively stifling. They were offensively shooting the puck from everywhere. Like I said, every line was getting involved. It felt like everyone was on the same page, which for the last handful of games, it hasn't really felt like that. So like the Kings game, the Ducks game, the Kraken game, it felt a little bit disjointed. The Kraken game I thought was the worst of the lot. Always tough to play against Pittsburgh, regardless of the relative strength of the Pittsburgh roster, and it's probably at its weakest now than it's been in the past 20 years. Even when the Penguins are struggling, it still feels like they find a way to beat the Blue Jackets. So, great to show up to a game against the Penguins and send all of the people in black and yellow jerseys home early. I saw on the broadcast a lot of people leaving after that empty net goal by Cole Sillinger, which to that I say goodbye. We'll see you next week in your Blue Jackets jerseys, I guess. But no, for the most part, really, really good game. Some guys I think didn't have as good of a game as they needed to. Some guys really stepped up. Someone I've been criticizing for the past week and a half ish. Sean Monahan is I don't want to say he's back, but after a handful of games without much of anything happening, 2 assists tonight. Again, you love to see it. Dmitry Voronkov, a goal and an assist. Zach Werenski, who's been kind of quietish, goal and an assist as well. Kromachenko is back up to a point per game. He's got 15 points in 15 games, or 16 points in 16 games, I think, actually. But everyone that needed to show up showed up, and then also some other guys showed up as well. Like Mathieu Olivier has hit his season high, career high in goals. He's at 5 now. He's tied with his career high for the past 2 seasons, and it's 16 games into the season. So do I think that we're going to get 30-goal Mathieu Olivier? No, but I do think that double digits is well within reach, and I do think that's, I don't know, I think it's fun. Zach Aston Reese got a revenge goal against his old team. Kevin Labanc has again kind of very quietly been impressing people. I think he's not flashy, but he's up to 9 points in 12 games with the Blue Jackets so far. Only 1 goal, but he's doing the thing. Again, I still want to see like Chinakhov. I actually thought Chinakhov was really great last night. I thought he had a lot of jump, he had a lot of movement. He didn't have a great game, like when you look at his advanced stats, quote unquote. Like he got out attempted a lot when he was on the ice. Didn't get a ton of ice time. That Sillinger, Fantilli, Chinakhov line looked fine, but it wasn't great. Like again, offensively speaking, they didn't create a lot. They also didn't give up a lot, but you want to create more than quarter of an expected goal in a game, especially when you're giving up half an expected goal. Again, these numbers are very small. They're not creating a lot, but they're also not giving up a lot. Something needs to change there. Like I want the Fantilli, Sillinger, Chinakhov line should be great. And I wonder if you put Chinakhov back up on that top line, put Voronkov with Fantilli and Sillinger, like that feels like a potential option. I liked Dante Fabro as well a lot. I'm kind of just running through guys as and when I think of them. Chinakhov I thought was, to just finish my thought on Chinakhov actually before I get distracted. Chinakhov looked great, but didn't really follow through on a lot of it. He was one of the Blue Jackets that got a point on the night. Had an assist on, I want to say on, whose goal was it? It was Zach Werenski's power play goal. Like, oh yes, because that was the stupidest assist I've ever seen on a power play goal. With the face again. You talk about like things that they needed to do to succeed. Power play, big part of it. They only went 1 for 5, but getting a power play goal is always a good thing. And there was an efficient power play goal as well. I think they scored like 6 seconds into the power play. Face off win to Fantilli, to Werenski, back to Fantilli, to Chinakhov, over to Werenski, one-timer. That, for me, was maybe the goal that I would have wanted back out of all of them if I was Tristan Jarry. He saw it all the way through, and it just he waved at it as it went past. So there were a lot of goals there that I think I would, want back, which is kind of stupid because goalies want the ball back, but as good as it was to see the Blue Jackets score 6 goals, I don't know that many of them were like, oh man, this is a goal that's going to end up on highlight reels anywhere, with the exception of like potentially Damon Severson's goal was a bad coverage from Jarry, but that pass from Sean Monahan that like went this close to the post and went through like 3 different players. Severson put it exactly where he wanted to put it. But Chinakhov's pass on that power play was like no look, behind the back, spin around, and Zach Werenski wastes no time putting that to bed. So like, this is the kind of game that they needed, is the thing. And I was fully expecting this to be some kind of nightmare, like 7-6 overtime monstrosity. But Blue Jackets have remembered to score goals again. Again, it feels like they either lose the game or they score 6 goals. And like, again, super unsustainable, but having fun while doing it. Now the question is, can they do it again? Can they do it a second time in a row? Can they win tonight's game against the Canadiens, which we'll talk about in a minute? I just wanted to kind of finish up my thought on, again, who I liked in this game. Elvis was great, I thought. Didn't need to be like special. We didn't need to see a 45 save performance from him, but he did what he needed to do. 2 goals on 23 shots. One of those was a power play goal, which probably you've got to have, but there was some shenanigan happening in front of him. And I'm always going to give a little bit more grace to a power play goal than not, quite frankly. And then the other goal was just really stupid. It went like up in the air and then landed basically at the post, and it just it got knocked in by Anthony Beauvillier. It was very, very nearly another waved off goal. They scored 1 goal, got waved off a goalie interference. This was almost waved off with a high stick. because Sidney Crosby just kind of batted it out of the air like lacrosse, and it just so happened that Beauvillier managed to get his stick on the puck before it went into the net. So just some real good timing there. But like of the goals that he gave up, I'm like, sure, why not? Those might as well be the goals that he gave up. I don't love the power play goal that he gave up. It kind of just rolled through him a little bit. But hey, save percentage above 900. That's what we want to see. That's, again, are my standards low for goaltending? Maybe. But that is all I continue to ask of the goaltending is give me an above 900 goaltending effort, and Merzlikins did that. They backed it up with the offense. Jobs are good, He's up to an 898 on the season so far after that performance. So hopefully, again, I imagine we'll see Tarasov tonight, which we'll talk about in a second here. But after a couple of rough games from Elvis, good to see him kind of, again, get back to what we saw for those couple of games before this terrible losing streak started. I'm going to take a quick break, and then I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that I didn't love in the game. Kind of few and far between, but, it's stuff to talk about. And how do they get another win tonight? So we'll talk about that in just a second here on Locked On Blue Jackets. First, I've got to tell you about Mint Mobile. I love a great deal as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to crawl through a bed of hot coals just to save a few bucks. It's got to be easy. There's no hoops, there's no BS. So when Mint Mobile said it was easy to get wireless for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan, I called them out on it, and it turns out it really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month. The longest part of the process was the time I spent on hold waiting to break up with my old provider. To get started, go to mintmobile.com/lockedonnhl, and you'll see that all 3-month plans right now are only $15 a month, including the unlimited plan, which comes with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text, delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with you and all your existing contacts. Find out how easy it is to switch to Mint Mobile and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/lockedonnhl. That's mintmobile.com/lockedonnhl. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/lockedonnhl. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower than 40 gig on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. I also have to let you know about Omaha Steaks. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code NHL. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at only $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code NHL and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code NHL. Minimum purchase may apply. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. We're talking about how fun last night's game was, and how everyone did just great. Couple of things I want to not address necessarily, but like you've got to talk about the bad with the good. That third pairing continues to struggle. I like credit where it's due. Provorov and Severson had a really good night together in terms of creating offense specifically. And also in terms of like not allowing a ton of offense. Their Provorov expected goals for was 1.41, and he allowed an expected goals against of 0.39. So basically created an entire expected goal and change. Damon Severson, also very good numbers, 135 minus 0.58. However, that bottom pairing of Harris and Christensen struggled. They both got out attempted when they were on the ice, and they also allowed a lot of offense. When they were on the ice, Jay Christensen allowed an expected goals against of 1.83, Harris 1.67. Jay Christensen has been playing really well for this team, is the thing. I don't know what's going on with that. Again, like Harris continues to struggle, and I don't really understand it. I loved putting them together. I thought that was a really smart defense pairing. It didn't come through in the end. I'd love to know actually who they were mostly matched up against. Like they were matched up against the other team's fourth line, essentially. They matched up against Matt Nieto, Noel Acciari, Valtteri Puustinen, and then the defense pairing of Ryan Graves and Ryan Shea. So like nothing sparkling there, you know. But that was a rough matchup for them, which is frustrating for many reasons. You know, and the lineups were kind of unbalanced. Not unbalanced. There wasn't like a hard matchup, you know. So they mostly played against that line, but they also played some time against the other bottom six line of the Penguins, and it just, I don't know, it wasn't good enough. When you're playing against, you know, guys like Ryan Graves, who Pittsburgh is trying their best to just fully run him out of town, you know, and Matt Nieto, who travels around a lot, like Valtteri Pustinen's just a kid, I think. You really want to be creating more offense and not allowing nearly as much defense. Like you're allowing almost 2 expected goals against the Pittsburgh, like the Pittsburgh, like third pairing and bottom six. Like it's not good enough, you know? So I hesitate to say, you know, if it ain't broke, this is the thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But also that pairing kind of is broken. But I don't know what the option is there. You know, I think you keep Jake Christensen in the lineup. I'm struggling to see how you keep Jordan Harris in the lineup at the minute. The problem is I don't think they're going to put David Jiricek in, and I don't think that they should put Jack Johnson in because he's a worse option than any of those 4 guys. So like, do you keep it as it is and see how they do? You know, 2 players that have not played together very much, if ever. I could probably find out how many minutes they've played together this season because my guess is probably like 10. If I can find out anything. So, you know, part of it is going to be chemistry a little bit. They have played 17 minutes together all season. Across parts of 7 games. So, like, again, that's like, oh, they played 30 seconds here because of a weird line change. I believe this was the first game where they've been paired up together. So, like, obviously, that's the chemistry is going to come if they keep them together. I do think that's probably the best option for the third pairing at the minute. However, I am starting to be worried about Jordan Harris, and I don't know if it's new team issues, if it's that he's not fitting in with the system issues, but he's not as advertised yet. He's had some decent games, but he is hardcore struggling at the minute, and that stresses me out a little bit, especially when you look at, you know, you give up Patrick Laine, you give up a second-round pick, and you get, you know, Jordan Harris, who ostensibly, you know, was, oh, this potentially could be the second pairing lefty this season, and he's struggling to stay in the lineup right now, you know? So I don't know what the answer is here. I think you probably keep it, mostly because I would swap him out for Jiricek, personally speaking, but it sounds like the coaching staff is not the biggest fans of Jiricek right now, in which case, why is he still here? Send him to the minors, please. For the love of God, put him in the AHL and let him play instead of letting him sit on in the press box and like just seethe and stew and overthink everything. Like, but if you have to pick between like Harris or Johnson, it's Harris. Because even when Harris is struggling, he's still better than Johnson is, you know? So I suspect with the win, they'll keep everything the same. Again, there are tweaks I would make. I would put Chinikov back up on that top line with Monahan and Marchenko. I would move Voronkov down to the second line. I do like that we are just giving Sean Monahan like a rotating cast of Russians this season. Like he spent a little bit of time with Fantilli, a little bit of time with Sillinger, but mostly it's just kind of been rotating him between like Chinikov and Marchenko and Voronkov, which I do think is very funny. But like I said, if you're complaining right now about how your third pair is struggling, like that's not a terrible problem to have, you know? So I'm really interested to see what happens tonight against Montreal because, and I've said this before, so maybe this will come back to bite me, but like, there is no reason you can't beat this team handily. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what the Habs are doing right now and how these teams match up against each other in just a second here on Locked On Blue Jackets. First, let's talk a little bit about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Just find the heaviest favorite you can. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's the NFL, the NHL, the NBA, college, anything. Bet $5, and if you win, you get $150 in bonus bets that you can also spend on whatever you want. And the FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you got a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, you can do live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You're going to get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. We've talked about everything we liked in the Penguins game. We talked about how much fun that game was. But there's a game tonight against another team that is struggling at the minute. They just broke their own 6-game losing streak a couple of games ago. They're coming into this game off of a loss to Minnesota, which, who among us? But the Montreal Canadiens were supposed to kind of, like the Blue Jackets were expected to this summer, a lot of people were talking about how the Canadiens have to take a step forward. You know, they made a big splash this offseason. They picked up Patrick Laine. Juraj Slavkovsky was supposed to take big steps forward. Cole Caulfield finally healthy, and like in fairness, Cole Caulfield, last I checked, was leading the NHL in goals. He's got 12 goals on the season already, which is, I believe, double anyone on the Blue Jackets. He's only got 1 assist. He's going for the Kirill style of goal scoring, which is only goals, no assists, please and thank you. I'm just pulling up to make sure that I am correct in terms of goals. Okay, no, he's tied for second with a bunch of people. Sam Reinhart has 13 goals on the season, so he's leading the way at the minute. But the Habs were supposed to take steps forward, and they just haven't. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10. Like I said, they've just got done with their own 6-game losing streak. They're 5-10-2 on the season. So below the Blue Jackets, with games in the Blue Jackets have games in hand as well, and they have decided they don't like scoring goals or saving goals. They are last in the league in goals against per game, so they have overtaken the Ducks in terms of being bad at allowing goals. Goaltending seems miserable. Sam Montembeault had a shutout in the first game of the season. They had like a 1-0 shutout of Toronto in the season opener, and since then has been not very good. I imagine that he's who the Blue Jackets will see tonight. Like I said, the Blue Jackets, I imagine, are going to play Tarasov. Merzlikins played last night and was fine. Tarasov, we'll see how it goes. Again, there's no way to know which Tarasov you're going to get. Are you going to get 4 goals on 12 shots, or are you going to get like 2 goals on 40 shots? Who can say? I'd like to hope it's going to be the second one. The Habs are not great at scoring goals either, so they are scoring on average of 2.7 goals a game, allowing just over 4 goals a game on average. Blue Jackets are scoring 3.25 goals per game and allowing 3.5 goals per game. So like, what this means, hopefully, is that the Blue Jackets are going to win this game 4-3. However, hockey is dumb, and it's probably not going to go like that. Montreal's power play is clipping along at 22%. It's 9th in the league. look out for guys that are having big games, or big, like in the last 5 games, Nick Suzuki has 4 points. Brendan Gallagher, who I thought was legally dead, has 3 goals in his last 5 games. He's actually got 7 goals on the season, which is second on the team. Nick Suzuki is leading this team in scoring with 17 points in 17 games. I like Nick Suzuki a lot. I know he gets a lot of stick for being like the worst 1C in the league and the worst captain in the league and whatever else like Toronto and Ottawa media likes to push. But I like Nick Suzuki a lot. I think he's a really good player. I think he's going to make life difficult for a lot of Blue Jackets tonight. But, so it's not like they have like 0 firepower. They don't have Patrick Laine yet. He's still out for at least a little while. I don't remember what the exact timeline was. 2 to 4 months, maybe. It's either 4 to 6 weeks, like it's 6 to 8 weeks, maybe. I don't know. He's probably due back soon-ish, hopefully for the Canadians. But we don't have to worry about a revenge game from him tonight. The Blue Jackets play the Habs tonight. They play again on November 22nd, and then they're actually done with the season series by December 23rd. So, like, depending on when Laine comes back, they might see him in January. They might see him earlier. But it's going to be unlikely to get a Patrick Laine revenge game this season. I'm going to knock on wood about that. So this is a game the Blue Jackets should win. It just is. Like, if they can stay out of the box, which they didn't want to do that last night, again, 5 minor penalties, Montreal will probably make them pay with that. But the penalty kill continues to be pretty good for the Blue Jackets. Again, the scoring, they figured out how to score goals again last night, which is not nothing. And especially against a team like the Canadians, who just can't seem to keep the puck out of their own net. Like I said, they're averaging over 4 goals a game, allowing, and their best goaltender is Sam Montembeault right now, who's got an .893 save percentage. And like, I know we live in a glass house of bad goaltending right now. But Caden Primo, who's their backup, has an .845 save percentage. So like their team save percentage is .867, which I thought the Blue Jackets might have the worst goaltending tandem in the NHL right now, just because it's been real rough. But doesn't look like it. The Habs are worse. So again, Blue Jackets can't go into this game thinking it's going to be an easy win, but also if they play like they did last night, if they play like they did for like big parts of the road trip, it should be fine. It all should be okay, I hope. In terms of finishing up here, just with some predictions, I think we get an Adam Fantilli goal tonight. He's due. He had a couple of really good looks last night, I thought. I think that line itself needs to, really kind of pick itself up and dust itself off. So we'll see how that does again. I'm not expecting the lines to change. I think they're going to go into tonight with nothing different, like maybe swapping Harris out for Jack Johnson. We hope not. But my guess is that we'll see that Chinakhov, Fantilli, Sellinger line again, which has potential. And I like Fantilli and Sellinger together a lot. That's fun. I hope that they get Kent Johnson on that line as well when he returns. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. That's my prediction for who scores. I think Adam Fantilli goal, he's due. And I think scoring, it's going to be one of those stupid 4-3 hockey games, isn't it? Like, it just is. I hate 4-3 hockey games. I don't know why. I don't know why that specific combo of scoring like annoys me so much. I think it's because it's a close game, but also neither team seems to have like played very well. It's not like a nightmare 6-7 game, but I don't know, a 4-3 game bothers me. But that's what it feels like it's going to be. Hopefully they don't go to overtime because this team doesn't know how to win in overtime. But I think it's going to be a 4-3 win for the Blue Jackets, and that's my final prediction. 4-3 win for the Blue Jackets. Adam Fantilli goal. Let's get it done. That's all I've got for you today. No episode tomorrow because it's Sunday. Monday we'll be back. We'll talk about tonight's game. We'll break it down. We'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Hopefully lots of the first and very few of the second and third. Thank you for listening to this episode, for making it your first listen of the day every single day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and over on YouTube. I've been Jay Foster. You can find me on _Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER. You can also find me over at Blue Sky under the same name without the underscore. You can find the show at Twitter at LO_Blue Jackets. We are working on getting that over to Blue Sky. So if you want Blue Jackets coverage over there, then we're coming, we promise. If you have comments, questions, criticisms, email me at lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. And until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.